Hello again, Rebecca here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the Beginner's Guide to Mixed Media. We're still in week 4 and series class 12 today. Now, week 4 has been all about glimmer and shimmer, and we cannot round out the week without using shimmer brushes. So I have some Wink of Stella. I have my close to my heart shimmer brushes. If anybody, shameless plug, if anybody wants to pick any of these up, I will have the link to my close to my heart website down below. These things, and not just because I sell it, because I don't really even sell it to sell it. I sell it for myself. Oh my God, these are my favorite brushes. Like, I used to love the Wink of Stella, okay? Nowhere compares to the amount of ink that comes in this and the freaking shimmer on that, you guys. Like, seriously. And I also have a couple Spectrum Noir shimmer brushes here. I guess they're called Sparkler. Spectrum Noir Sparkler. I got these, I honestly think when I sold Stampin' Up, I think they had like a set of 4 of them. And even though this says it's silver, it comes out bronze. So it's definitely, do you guys see, like, I don't know if it tarnished in there or if at some point I switched the lid by mistake. Not 100% sure. So I don't ever even use those. Yeah. So, all right. So you guys did see in yesterday's video that we are going to use the half of that white 12 by 12. So it's going to be a 6 by 12 sheet of gessoed cardstock for one portion of this. We are, however, going to need another piece because this is like a 2-part layout that you are going to need 2 different pieces of cardstock. So once again, my close to my heart daisy white cardstock. Which I need to buy some more of. And I put my gesso away, and I'm not sure if this is the old bottle or the new bottle. Oh, this is... I'll be placing some orders for some cardstock, for some gesso. I got a whole bunch of stuff I gotta order, you guys. Oh, sheet protectors. I need sheet protectors too. I do have to make a close to my heart order. Cardstock and sheet protectors, nothing fun. All right. So today's layout is kind of going to be a center. It's really, we're going to focus on the center of the page. There might be a little bit of mixed media that gets to the edge, but not a lot. And I am loading it up once again with lots and lots of cardstock, gesso, because I am going to really apply the liquid to this. And this is a very thick piece of cardstock, the daisy white. I find I have not tried the Vicky Bouton mixed media paper, but yeah. So I'm just gonna I just keep going back and forth. I know you guys have seen me do this 1,000 times over, but I just keep going back and forth because it is starting to dry as I'm doing this. So I am just trying to make sure that I'm not scraping it off in the process. And I actually went off the messy mat. Did you guys see that? That's all right, because that mat behind it is messy as well. And I just smooth it out, and it's drying as I'm doing this, which works out fine. So you can keep reapplying the layers. Grab my rag once again. We're gonna pick this up. So now it's really just centered there in the middle, which is fine because that's all I need. And that's all I'm going for today's look. Let's go ahead and give this puppy a good wash down. So like I said, today we're going to focus on cleaning this mat because this sucker is dirty. I love this thing, and I got this from Amazon, but it's the Ranger. I don't even know if they call it a messy mat, but yeah, nothing. I mean, every once in a while you'll get, but see, it like scratches right off. So awesome. All right. So we're gonna let that dry. So we are gonna use my Echo Park kit that I got for March, April. So it's the March, April kits. They send them out every other month. Really good price. And this is outside of these mixed media. I got the cute little Puffy stickers. And I did use this. I'm not sure if that's going to be a bit. I used it for a project that I was asked to play along with for J. Crew Crafty on her Facebook. She had an idea and she wanted to test it out with a few scrappy friends first. So we went ahead and played along. But I didn't use a lot of the elements. One of these, which they're both they're the exact same. So I got one in the Echo Park kit, and I got one in my Hip Kit Club. So I was like, well, I just threw it in with this instead of using it with that because, you know. We got the washi, which is beautiful, Puffy stickers. The 6x6 pad, which up until, you know, like January and February, the beginning of this year, 2021, I struggled using these. Now I find that I actually want one with each collection, okay? And I'll tell you guys why. Because you can make so many more layouts. You don't have to cut into your 12x12s, right? We're going to go ahead and do another picture from my son's graduation party. It's of me, my sissy, and my bubbies. So, like, me and my brother are seriously old, and my sister, she is not. She is 12 years younger than him and 10 years younger than me. So she is like super baby. So the age difference between my sister and my brother are exactly the same as my sister and my son. So there's 12 years between them, and there's 12 years between them, and 10 years between us. 20, over 20 years. It's fine. We don't need to. It's fine. So we're also going to pull out the chipboard, which I believe I had played with. All lies. So I'm just going to, while I'm talking to you guys, letting that dry, we are going to open all our stuff up. All right, that's cut, that's cut. I don't cut that because that'll make a mess. Okay, so the colors that we are working with today, the Wink of Stella, I chose the white and the clear. So you can figure that, yeah, right. We are going to go with Wisteria, Lagoon, Grape, Black, Bluebird, Peacock, Sapphire, and Bluebell. Now this color is the color of the year for Stampin' Up. Oh, for Close to My Heart. Whoop! That was a faux pas. I looked over and seen the stamps. I'm going to crafty hell. Okay, so for Close to My Heart, last year they had a pretty green color. This year they have this beautiful color. I told you guys I'm a horrible Close to My Heart representative. I like their products. So that's why I buy them. I just had like a flashback of actually trying to sell material. All right. So this thing is still drying, but we have not got out the gospel, according to Becky. All right. So the Wink of Stella. Like I said, used to be in love with these. I was buying them. I had used them up, so I was, you know, branching out. I bought what the Stampin' Up sold because Stampin' Up did sell Wink of Stella. And they are somewhat shimmery, like this one right here, those two reds. There's not a lot of shimmer. That green's not a lot of shimmer. I mean, this yellow, super shimmery. Clear, super shimmery. Here's the white, like, not very much shimmer. Totally fine. We'll make it work. Close to My Heart Shimmer Brushes. Pow, baby. These things are like, this whole page is covered in shimmer. And that is because it grinds back and forth. Yeah, so see how shimmery these are and all the glitter that is in them. Super. And they're highly pigmented. So yeah, those things, my favorite. Highly bleed through. The Spectrum Noir, okay. There's the silver color. Does that look silver to anybody? No, that's bronze. So I just wrote it as bronze and went with it. The gold is more of a yellow to me, and I don't use those that much anyway. So we are going to create a layout using all these fun things together. Once this is fully dry, because this is another technique that I need this to be super dry, because I don't want to mix in. It is starting to dry a little here. You can also help the warping by, as it's drying, like warp it, like bend the page. Like I will do that. But the warping doesn't bother me. I know it bothers some people, but it doesn't bother me. So we're gonna let this dry and we'll be back. All right, so we're dry and we only have the center portion gessoed. So I've got all of my blues and my purples. So we're gonna pull the two purples and put them to the side because they're kind of like the, whoa, didn't expect that color to be there in that layout. And our stamp block that has got something on it. Okay. So these, I always tap them and shake them and hear the little ball. Just get them all good and juiced up. Now these pins are actually used, okay, for like it's a brush, okay, so it's a brush tip. But I take my stamp block, so you just kind of like paint, like a little paintbrush. I squeeze it until I squeeze out a lot of color. And since it's on the stamp block, it's not going to run, hopefully. Okay. I spray the water on the paper, and then we flip it over like so. And it starts to do the wicking thing. And we're going to do just a little bit down here. We're actually going to stamp and make a mess. I wasn't supposed to do that. We're just going to pop the little stamp right around and let it kind of move on its own. Wipe the stamp block off, and then we're just going to kind of, I want it to meet and you can see over here where it kind of splooged out because I've got the gesso. Now this is one where we're going to have to let it dry in between each of these layers. So that is the first layer that I did with the bluebell. So we're going to let this layer dry just as it's sitting, and then we're going to come back and we're going to add another layer on top. So you can keep moving it if you want. But you want a big drip, big. So like it's gonna be like an hourglass when we're done. So we're gonna let this dry and we'll come right back. All right, so while that piece is drying, we're gonna work on this. Now this is that half sheet that's really gessoed. So this we're going to do the purple on. So I've got the grape and the wisteria, and we're gonna go for it. And what I mean by that is it doesn't matter if it hits the outside. We are going to do a funky cutout of this to lay on top and incorporate into the layout. So I need my water bottle, and we're just gonna lightly spritz the paper. And we always start with the light color first. At least I try to. Sometimes I mess that up, and what I think's the light color is not, but it's okay. So we're going to squeeze this light color on here, and we can even tap some of it in there because it's gonna go. You can, I've got ice, it's because I squeeze it and then put it in the cap, it pulls at the top of the cap. So they're just going to, I'm just wanting to get ink all around the page. And then you can just do this. This might make it easier, just kind of drip some of it out of there. And start letting it move. And this is going to take several different layers and adding of color. But so while this is sitting for a second, as you can see, this one's drying, okay? And while it's like drying, I do kind of move the page a little bit so that it moves the pools of ink around, just in case you guys wanted to know. So like I'll let it sit for a minute and then I'll roll it again, and I'll have it, you know, I'll move it a little more. Okay. I want some more, and since it's a paintbrush, I can just kind of, you know, but it's got water everywhere, so it's all right. And that is just the wisteria color. We haven't even added the fun grape color yet, so we can just squeeze some of this in here and start letting it move. Now the idea is to not let it, like, really, you don't want to mix it with your paintbrush. You want to show the different parts and the colors so that when it runs, it makes those really cool patterns. And I let it pool and then I move it again. The only thing that I want to do is fill all of these little spots up. So I will just use my finger to do that. And because I do want a good wash of color. Now the grape took over. So I'll add some more of the wisteria in. And yeah, I'm squeezing a lot. But I really like this look. So now I'm just gonna get it kind of washed around, fill in those little areas. And then I'll let it sit for a little bit. So we'll let this one sit. We'll move the grapes aside. So we'll move this to the side. And I'll show you as I'm doing the next color on this, which I feel like we don't need the black. We're gonna go with this color. And I just want to get some spray up there because now I have the design that I'm going for. Just kind of get a little bit of color in there. And then we'll let that kind of mix. But we're not putting as much or stamping it down this time because I want the different colors. And we'll let that run back and forth. And just spritz it with a little bit more. I've got a bubble right here in my paper. And so I am kind of like U-shaping the paper so that it does come up. And I do want to kind of move the pool around, but I'm just using the brush, so you can use. I'm gonna get this to come down here. And we're gonna keep going back and forth. Now I do want a little, just add some water. Okay, so now this one, we've got a lot on here. We're just going to keep going back and forth. Set this to the side, let that dry a little bit. This has had just that amount of time to dry and it starts to pool. So we're going to let it run a little more. But now you can see that there's a definite, the underneath is starting to dry. And we're just going to run this back and forth. Now another trick. I'll set this to the side. Woohoo. Another trick you can do, and it's going to get noisy, so you're not going to be able to hear me talk, but you can take your heat gun, okay, and you can move the color, and that will actually dry the colors and help leave the darker marks. So you're not going to be able to hear me. I'm not going to talk while I'm doing this, but turn this on, and then you're going to see we're going to start moving everything. Okay, and as you see now how it's leaving like the trail of color from the outside where the heat gun was drying it. The trick is not to leave the heat gun in one spot for too long or you will burn the page. So now we've got the hint of the bluebird behind it. We've got the sapphire on top, and we still have 3 more colors. So we're going to, you know, keep going without trying to cover up. If we cover up the bluebird, we'll come in and add just a little bit more to it. So we'll put that aside and let it dry just a little bit more. We still have this guy here, only he's getting slower and slower on the moving because it's drying. And you want to do the same thing with that one. You're going to use the heat gun again to move the color. And then see, you've got all the different watermarks. So again, this one goes to the side. We're going to bring this guy back up. And we're going to take my very well loved little paper towel here. And we're just going to come in and pull up some of that really deep color. And that's still wet, obviously. But that will also help it dry quicker. And then we can move on to the next color. Now for this one, I'm gonna hold it like this for just a minute trying to bend that paper because there's a lot going on in the middle there and we still have it busted through, so that's good. So now we're gonna take the bluebird. And see, it's not completely dry, but just gonna put a little bit here. And then I'm gonna add just a smidge in this general area and here. And now we're gonna try to move that color around. Just nice little wash. A little bit of water in these areas. And then this one, I'm just gonna go up and down. So it's not a big variation in the color. And then down here, I just kind of want to get that. And bring that together. Make that a little bigger. I don't want the actual drips. So like here, I don't want that drip to be like that. And we're gonna keep it up. Now this one I didn't use a lot of color. And try to roll it all into the middle so that we can now get it back down here. I do want the color to go all the way to the top though. So maybe when it gets up there, there you go. There we go. Now bring it back down. Kind of let it run to the edge and then let it fall back down. So we need to bring her out just a little bit. So we're gonna grab a little bit of this, just a little bit more of the bluebell because I feel like it's getting covered up. So and get a little bluebell in there. A little bit of that up there. We don't want it to, look too mixed. And then just a spritz of the water, and we're gonna run that. But you gotta watch all your drips so that it doesn't overpower everything. But that's kind of the look I'm going for. I'm gonna maybe fill that in a little bit, but I don't want it very big down here. I want it a little smaller down here. This, we'll work on that with the other colors that we have over here. But we're gonna let this dry again. And see, now this is still wet, but there is no more movement. Well, there's a little movement. The glitter's kind of going, but this is good. So this needs to just sit and dry. And then we're gonna come in and do another little fun technique with this. So I'm gonna let those two dry and we'll be back and finish it up. All right, so these are all dry. Now we're gonna just come in with the two teal colors and kind of just, we're gonna get some added maybe. Actually kind of want to add a little bit of water first, And because it is water-based dye ink, you guys, it is going to, reactivate some of the other colors. As well, because we know that it's gonna, water, it's gonna react. I got a bubble. I got a bubble. The bubble won't pop. So we're just going to kind of get that right in there. maybe a touch over here just for a little accent. Kind of bring that here. And since the colors are very close together, go ahead and add some of this dark in there as well. And that was Lagoon and Peacock. So smidge of water. We're gonna start working it around. And those are just for like the hints, the pop of color. And yes, I did do 2 colors at once. I'm okay with that. I like that look on these 2 colors because they are very, I mean, they're very similar. Like this is a tad more blue, it's a tad more green. But I don't want the green to, you know, the whole background is blue, so I don't really want the green to overpower. And then slowly let it work its way to the edge. You just don't want it to run off real quick. And then I take my finger and I'll fill in where it kind of gaps. Now we are going to have like just one picture, so it's probably going to be this one, to be honest with you, that I'm going to cut down to cover up the holes right there. So we just keep really wanting to work on this side over here, making sure that we're staying within the gesso. And we're gonna let this kind of dry on its own because it will give, you know, it's gonna leave its own watermarks because there's 2 different colors mixed. And it's mixing with the blue as it's going. Just get that all mixed in there. And take just a shade more of this. And I just add the water to get it to move. Sometimes I add too much, and then we gotta go in with like a paper towel. So these 2 colors I'm done with. I do want to come in with a bit more of the blue and just kind of just right in here. And let it kind of mix just so there's more blue up there. And then we'll let that start to run. Now the top blue does not have as much water in it. So it doesn't run as fast. But we're just making it work. Okay, so while that is drying, I'll give you a look at this. This is almost dry and almost ready, but it's still pretty wet. I mean, not pretty wet, but it's still cool on the back, so I know it's still wet. So we're gonna finish letting all this dry and we're gonna come back and finish it. All right, so this is dry and look at that, you guys. Ooh, look at how shimmery that is. So this one we're gonna take the white Wink of Stella pen and the black Close to My Heart shimmer pen and shake it up. So what I want to do is I've got my die here for a template. And I'm going to attempt something. Oh, okay, Becky. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to use my pencil here to draw so that I can see a circle. It's not gonna stay that way. But I'm gonna take my black pen and I am just going to get some rough, and by the time I'm done, you won't ever see that pencil line. Just do a wonky looking circle. Make some, like some of them I'm not doing full circles. And the white just to kind of highlight in. And yes, it's going to transfer the color. It's really just giving just a little bit extra shine to it, and hopefully the and I squeezed it just a little bit to get that in there. Okay, so we're gonna let that part dry now. And basically we're just gonna kind of cut the outline of that out. I know, it's kind of sad, right? All right, here is the blue. Let me pull back up a little bit. I was close in. So look at all that shine. So I'm gonna take a little bit of the clear and just kind of, I know that's weird, right? But I just wanna, just a couple where the shimmer wasn't strong. Like I watered out the, when I used a lot of water, there's not a lot of shimmer, and it's clear, so you won't really, but not a lot. All right. Let's move that one over. I'm just gonna get my scissors. And I'm just gonna cut my wonky circle shape out. And it wasn't, this one didn't, this part wasn't like crazy liquid. So it didn't need that much. I just wanted to make sure. It's kind of more of an oval, but you can see now that it's dry where the white is kind of was set in there. All right. So now we need to figure out what picture, and the whole idea is just to kind of put that part there, and then the picture is definitely, I don't know which one I want to use. That one's too big. All right, so let's trim down the photo. Move my messy mat. Okay, so that is 4. Let's maybe take it in a little bit. I love this, I love glimmer and shimmer. So, all right, we are at okay. So pop those over into the trash thing, and then you kind of got this that's gonna sit right on that, kind of on, kind of off. Take our liquid glue. And yes, it's supposed to be wonky, like, you know, if you don't like the wonky, by all means, you know, you could have used the die cut and cut the circle out, but I'm just gonna, and now, even though I did gesso the page, as you can see, I had put so much, and I kept crinkling the page to roll that, yeah, I got some seepage back there, but that's all right. I'm just gonna So now, come in and grab some paper from my 6x6 pad. Maybe. Just trying to keep within the colors. Oh, I am kind of tired today, not gonna lie. This is a totally different day from when the beginning of this was filmed. Been playing along with National Scrapbooking Weekend. I pretty much spent all of Saturday hanging out over, well, I had some yard work, and then the rest of the time I hung out over on Confessions of a Paper Addict, that Facebook group, because, you know, I'm a member of the design scene. So, and I'm just gonna wonkily tear that. There's so much mixed media going on that we are just going to make the picture pop just a smidge. And this, this is a collection kit that I got from Echo Park. So it was their March, April kits. Oh, I put that on the wrong side. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not quite making a mess of things, huh? And just tear a little more. I don't care if it, like, what we got going on. I want it to look messy because my background is super messy. And then we'll come in with a little bit more of that one. Okay. These all torn and weird pieces I'm not keeping. All right, so this, I'm going to pop it up on some foam. And I will add liquid adhesive to it as well. So what'd you guys think of this week's class with the glimmer and shimmer and all the fun? Did you try a cut file? If you go over to the Confessions of a Paper Addict, she does offer free ones, but they're like, if you go to the store, they're so super affordable, like reasonable priced, that I suggest trying one, get one. And you can always, if you have the machine, you can blow it up, make it bigger. I always look for ones that when I'm just starting, because I haven't been using cut files for all that long, I go for the ones that are easier to back. The bigger, the better, the more space, or the ones that are easy, like the one we did on Monday, which was painting with the Shimmers products. So next week, which is week 5, I believe, we are going into the paints. So we are going to be playing with all kinds of fun paints, like just regular old paints. I mean, obviously I've got some like Brutus Monroe aqua pigments, and I'm going to do some watercolors and some watercolor pens and just show like the wide range. And remember, all of these techniques can be used for all the different mixed medias that we've went through. You know, you can spray through a stencil, you can use texture paste through a stencil, you can use shimmers, you can splatter, you can thin down texture paste to make it splatter and more of a watercolor. You can make your ink pads into watercolors. I mean, everything is pretty much, it's all the same technique, just different products, right? All right, so then we're just gonna put this right here. All right, so I am going to cut away for a minute. I'm gonna sort through my embellishments so that we can get this going, but I absolutely love the way this turned out. Like, I love all the shimmer on there. So yeah, I'll be right back. All right, so I've picked some stuff over here that I want to use. And I'm going to use the Love Grows Here as my title. And I'm just going to kind of right underneath there. And by there, I mean the photo and all the fun embellishments. Now, I have done this sort of technique once before, so I definitely was inspired. But I'm trying to keep like new techniques for you, like different, like each week. I don't want to keep creating the same layouts, and that is so hard. So I've got that on there. I have this cute little lovely, which is kind of the same paper there, so let's go with the gather. And this says gather the ones you love. And again, liquid adhesive. We're just gonna push that right underneath there. Kind of hold that down. I think I want a little cluster right up here. And since I'm introducing pink from the from the die cut that I just tore, we are going to go ahead and I'm going to use this frame. I'm going to just pop that right there so that I can get this cute little, but that gives me 3 pops of the pink. Just trying to see, that says plant smiles, grow laughter, harvest love. So yeah, like that. Just kind of popping it in right on top of everything. Then we're gonna grab this little dried flower cluster. Hold that down. This cute little gather. And this says today is beautiful, so I'm gonna pop that right there on my picture. It's kind of more of a gardening collection, so I try to challenge myself with these. It's obviously, it was a kit club, so I didn't choose what I got from Echo Park, but so I try to use them and challenge myself to use it because I may never do it. All right, put those to the side. One thing that I do want to do is, because I really like, to me, it's missing something, like the border is missing something. So I'm just gonna take my Micron, it's got archival ink in it. You can pick them up at Amazon. And I'm just gonna do a messy border around the edge. And really the key is to, if you notice, my wrist doesn't move. I'm gliding, I'm holding still and just gliding my arm. So this one's gonna be a little bit more challenging. just kind of run it so it looks like it's running underneath everything. So yeah, and I'm just making, I mean, obviously I should have probably done that before I laid everything down, but where's the fun in that? All right, so and I run off a lot too, you guys, when I try to speed up. Hence the marks on the page. And then we're just gonna go one more time. That one took a big loop. All right. See, now I think that kind of, to me, that kind of finishes it a lot more. I'm gonna take some of these little enamel dotty dots, and I'm gonna splatter them around the page, and that is because those kind of go with the mood and feel of that purple. All the other ones are just too purple. It's more of like a blackberry purple. I'm just gonna pop them down. I can get them off of the sheet. I picked these up at the dollar store quite some time ago, you guys, so they are sticking pretty nicely to the sheet. And I can't bend it. So we're just going to, no. Oh, well. It was too even with the other one. I know, right? I don't want things to line up. I mean, I know these kind of are, but not to where, like, you really have to pay attention. Tuck that little guy under there, and I am going to call this layout fabulous and complete. I'm not going to add anything to it like journaling or anything because I have a whole series. We know this was in June of 2020, so we know it's Sam's graduation. So anyway, if you like my video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to go over to the Facebook group and join in on the fun and share your work for this week. And also, I will see you guys tomorrow with another video. Not the mixed media series, but it will be for a Punched Out Thursday to die for, and may I scrap lift you. So there's 2 for tomorrow. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. Bye.